heard me saying that I actually listened to it again and I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much. And that was only to get a topic. That was all. Only to get a topic, and I listened to the entire thing. Really a pleasure. So thank you very much. But
Thank you for
Ruzanna,
inviting me. Thank you.
But Ruzanna, it's not that easy. You're going to talk about yourself later. The format now is to put people on the spot. Please talk about the conference. What do you, anything that you want to tell us about the conference?
Now, you know what? Now I have something to say because because yesterday I watched your conversation with Lisa and Jay about ethnic and religious conflicts. It was wonderful conversation, great conversation. I even made notes because it was so interesting to me, and this is topic that I'm interested in. And today we are going to continue like speaking about it. So thank you very much for that conversation with them. And it was interesting that Jay was talking about techniques that he used in such conflicts. So I strongly recommend everyone to see this very conversation with them. And the day before yesterday, I tried to join, and I hoped that I would have time, and I even connected. But then I understood that I need to do something else. So I saw that you were speaking with ladies from Malaysia, and you had this also interesting conversation with them, but I just didn't have time. So what I understood that all of your conversations are unique and interesting, and they're touching so different aspects of mediation. And it's great when you just understand that mediation can be so broad and can be used in so many different spheres. So uh, I'm like advertiser right now. And I'm telling everybody, please sign to this channel and watch all the videos.
Good. We need that. Look, I'm the whole idea of, I keep saying subscribe to the channel. It's just because at least you'll get a notification. So whenever because you have to subscribe to the notifications also, and at least you'll get to know. Supposing you have time, there's something happening live, at least you can watch some of it. Every little bit makes a difference. So I think that's the whole idea, right? Because all these wonderful people like you are putting out, taking out time, first of all, and putting out this content, you're having these conversations, and which is really something people can benefit from. So first of all, thank you very much for doing that. So of course, quickly, about anything more about the conference that you have to tell us? Anything else?
uh, at this moment, this
Okay.
enough. But next time I will watch
Okay.
this conversation with Layla, and I will have
You,
something to
no,
say.
that one you must watch. So like, so quickly, it's like, okay, 18th May to 30th June, Ken Cloke's birthday we started with, and like I keep saying, so wonderful of him to spend his time on his birthday with us. And that's going to be celebrated as World Mediators Day, Rosanna, every 18th May. Of course, the conference, the World Mediators Conference will start on that day. So the next one, obviously, is maybe now I'll plan a little bit more in advance. This is right now, will only be about 93 sessions, which is nothing. What are 93 sessions, Rosanna? We have to bring in lots more. So that's how it is. So thank you very much, Rosanna. From here onwards, it's your show. You're going to talk about yourself and the topic. So please.
As we agreed some days ago that we will just ponder about ethnic mediation, yes. So I want you to join my monologue. I don't want it to be monologue. I want it to be conversation. So it's for my attitude to ethnic mediation. And as I told you, I heard yesterday that Jay was saying about it. It was interesting, and I just pointed out some important things for me. And he was speaking about kind of technique. I was trying to understand what kind of technique he uses to resolve this complex, and like he said, interactable problems. Yes, in interactable conflict. And I think that he uses kind of narrative mediation or transformative mediation, because we know that there are different styles of mediation. And here in Kazakhstan, for instance, we don't use narrative or transformative mediation. Um, like it doesn't fix in our law, but according to our law, we use facilitative mediation. So we don't need to speak about different complex issues of the problem with parties that were in the beginning of the conflict. Like Jay yesterday said, let's speak about your conflict, but please distract from what they think about it. Just think about yourself, why the conflict matters to you so much, and please don't say about their opinion to it or what they think about it. So, and I think that this very technique, narrative or transformative, this is very useful in this kind of conflicts, ethnic conflicts. Let's divide at the beginning. Let's divide. I think that on on my humble opinion, I think that all the ethnic conflicts should be divided into some groups, and it should be religion-based conflicts. It should be like value-based conflicts, because all the nationalities, they have their history, they have their traditions. So this is kind of value-based conflict, and third one is I would call it domestic or household based conflict, when people just have just usual normal domestic or household problems with usual things, and at the beginning they don't think about ethnicity, or they don't think about nationality of the other part of the conflict. They just start arguing like usual people. For instance, two men arguing because of the park place in the courtyard or somewhere, I guess. So they just start fighting or just arguing like usual men, even not noticing their nationality. And when they go deeper and deeper, they can fight, for instance, and if they fight it, they of course they start noticing their nationality. They start saying bad things about nationalities, like for instance, here we have a lot of Russians and Kazakhs. The biggest part here in Kazakhstan, the biggest part of the nationalities is the Kazakh. It's 75% or so, according to different values. So let's say 75% of Kazakh, then the biggest part of Russians, and the other 135 different nationalities here. So, and for instance, if it's Russian men and Kazakh men, and they arguing because of the park place, they at the beginning they just don't notice their nationalities, and at the end, one of them can say it happens because you are Russian, or it happens because you're Kazakh. So, and this conflict became kind of national or ethnic conflict. And I think these conflicts are they much more easier to be solved, because a mediator can go back to the beginning of the conflict and ask parties, why do you think it happened? What happens at the very beginning? And concentrate parties at the conflict itself, but not at the nationalities or so on. And if we speak about other conflicts like religion-based or value-based, these are more complex conflicts. They're very hard to resolve. They're protracted conflicts, like they also mentioned yesterday, and interactable. So here here in Kazakhstan, is for our practice, we doesn't face this kind of conflicts. I have never worked with these conflicts, and we had some, sorry, forgot the word. So it happened. It happens sometimes here in Kazakhstan, but our government even doesn't try to call it ethnic conflict, because it can escalate the conflict. If we call it ethnic, then it can be big blow up, I should say, and we even doesn't know those people who work with them. But I know that government usually and policemen work with these people if it happens, because those conflicts that we had, they were resolved by policemen. They just stop the parties and so on. And what happens after that, no one knows. So, but we know that it can happen, and we know that there are some flashes of these conflicts, and it happens sometimes. That's why our president said 1 year ago at the conference of the people of the Assembly of the People of Kazakhstan, he said that we need to create a special center for resolving ethnic conflicts. So after that, the Assembly of People of Kazakhstan started working on it, and today they have opened such center, and but they still don't have mediators here. They just started to teach them, and their idea is to have a kind of pool of mediators who will be great negotiators first. And those negotiators could be sent to the conflict and to help to resolve it. So, and after that, this pool of mediators will teach other Republican mediators, like they call them, Republican ethnic mediators. And those mediators will go to different parts of Kazakhstan to teach other mediators. So like 3 levels. And today they just preparing for the first level. They teach this pool of mediators. They even don't tell us who are those people, because last week or 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with a director of the institute. Also, I should say that we have here in Kazakhstan Institute of Applied Ethnopolitical Research. So, and this director, the director of this center, I had conversation with. He said that we keep in secret those people. I said, why? Why is such secret? He said that, do you understand that this pool of mediators, this extremely good negotiators, they can be like special agents. They will be so skilled. They could be used in different spheres. That's why we don't say who are they. But but I believe that in several months I will know their names, and moreover, I believe that I know all these people because our sphere is not so big, and everyone knows each other.
Is Ruzanna going to be part of it or not? That's the important thing. Ruzanna has to be part of it. Special agent Ruzanna.
What?
Special agent Ruzanna.
Special agent. Yes, I said I would like to be a special agent. Why didn't you invite me? And he said, "What? Where have you been? Why didn't you tell us that you're here? Why didn't you send us out your CV?" And so we just didn't know about each other. So I said, please.
Now you know. Now you know. Yes.
Yes, yeah. I said, please don't miss me when you're gonna teach this Republican pool of mediators. I want to be one of them. So that kind of conversation we had. So as you see, our country pays too much attention to this problem, to this topic, and they're trying to invent something. And I'm interested so much what kind of techniques they will use and what they teach and what they study, because when I hear my colleagues from different countries, everyone uses different techniques, like yesterday Jay said, yes. And my colleagues from Irina Belskaya from Belarus.
I think so. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you know so many mediators that it's sometimes.
I know, that's the thing. That's the problem. Because look, when they come into my shows, then I really get to know them. And otherwise, of course, I'm connected to them. But I keep telling people, please come into my shows. So at least that little conversation, you get to know the person. Right now, these are LinkedIn connections, but you have to bring them in. So yes, now you're telling me, let's bring him in.
So once Irina was a guest of your conversation, but there were a lot of people.
Okay, Irina. So yes. I didn't. Yeah, Irina was there. Yeah.
So, for instance, in Belarus, they use restorative mediation, and they use restorative mediation in criminal cases. So, in criminal cases, and when she was presenting this kind of technique. It's a big technique with some stages, and it's very interesting one. And I understood that this very technique could be used in ethnic conflicts also. And after that, we had a conversation with her, and she said that she thinks the same, and she thinks that it definitely could be used in ethnic conflicts. So there are so many different types of mediation that could be used in solving conflicts. Yeah. And this is very interesting. And I just wonder what our mediators study at the moment to be great negotiators in this sphere. So it's like this here in Kazakhstan. And before, I also told you that now I'm in the process of getting my master degree. in ethnopolitical sphere or also. That's why I went to study especially ethnopolitical issues. And the topic of my dissertation is mediation techniques of resolving ethnic conflicts, Kazakhstan and foreign practice. That's why I'm so interested in, getting or grabbing these techniques. And when I hear somewhere that someone uses one new technique, then I want to keep it. I just write it down.
We're waiting for Ruzanna's technique for solving ethno-religious political disputes. That's what. Look, I only talk about disputes. You talk about conflicts. Of course, you people have a larger this thing. My role is only disputes, because for me, disputes where things start, and then if you can resolve that, then the other conflicts is much easier to. I mean, I'm not saying easier. Of course, there can be lots of factors, but at least that's for me that step. Because sometimes what happens is that dispute is lingering there and you're talking about the larger picture, but you don't resolve the dispute. So for me, that's the starting point. I don't know how you look at that. How do you look at that? Dispute
You
versus
mean
conflict. Dispute versus conflict.
dispute versus conflict? It's an interesting idea. Yes, I would agree. I would agree that the dispute is something smaller and maybe easier to resolve than the conflict. But even here, we in Kazakhstan, in our legislation, we have yes, we have the same understanding. We have conflicts and yes, disputes, right? Yes, disputes. So agree that dispute is easier. And maybe dispute it's about two parties, yes. But when do you think that dispute could be with a multi-party?
The multi-party disputes, we've actually had that. We had a conversation in the conference also on multi-party disputes also. So look, dispute is how, I mean, I look very simple. I just gave very simple. That dispute is something that I can take to court. So I keep it that simple. I mean, of course, people can have their meaning. So for me, if I know that you can take this to court and I can resolve that dispute for you, and that's all that for me, that my dispute resolution revolution, those aspects come in. Because for me, look, I'm telling you that up till people do not actually experience resolving a dispute, just the fact of being part of it changes them. They look at things so differently. So give them that exposure, that experience. When you talk about that whole larger thing, we'll resolve your conflicts. There's so much more that goes into it. But the first thing is, if you can actually, that approach of theirs towards just interacting with each other, just dealing with each other, that collaborative aspect of things, if that comes in and they've actually experienced it where they've actually resolved something with it, they'll take it into the conflict. And that conflict resolution of that conflict will become easier, because then the mediator's role becomes that much more easier, because you've already, in a way, let's call it training, you've trained them. Let's call it that. So you've trained them in handling all the other things, and they've approached to look again. Look, Ruzanna, I'll always go back to heart, soul, spirituality. You'll hear me saying this a lot of times, and I'll continue saying it, that these aspects get left out. And even when you're talking about it, your special agents, your negotiators, are they looking at that aspect or not? Because even this becomes, I'm saying it's important in all, and it becomes even more important in the that one we were talking about ethno-religious, you said ethnic, so we keep it to ethnic. So ethnic disputes, definitely it plays a major role. Again, how do you look at it?
Well, listening to you, I agree with you that disputes, yes, dispute is something that people still can in dispute people still can talk to each other. But when it's conflicts, it's sometimes they even can talk to each other. They hate each other. Conflicts are more emotional, more complex, yes, and disputes Sometimes in disputes, people even want to talk to each other, want to show their position. Yes, that's why maybe it's a little bit easier. And
and
you
and
said that you're not sure that our agency, they speak about think about spirituality and
heart,
those
soul,
things.
yeah, all three: heart, soul, and spirituality.
Heart, soul, and spirituality. Right. I'm afraid that they are not, but I really want that's why I wanted to be the part of this, because I wanted kind of to have a small control on it. Just to tell them that it's very important, because I believe that this part is very important. Heart, soul, and spirituality in these conflicts is very important. And people, if we want to not to just to stop the conflict, if we want to resolve them, if we want to resolve this conflict till the end, so that these people will never fight or argue again, then of course we need to think about heart, soul, and spirituality, and we need to speak with these people about these deeper things, about spirituality, maybe about their points of view. Why do they need this conflict?
Yeah.
Go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Because,
And
I was very happy that in the last session, Leila was actually talking about these. When of course, she was talking about the master mediators at work, and when she was observing them, the fact that this aspect came out, the energy that they brought in, the spirituality, and of course the humility part of it. So, I mean, it's an important part. So what you are going to do is, Rosanna, you want to take out time in the last symposium, the symposium number 1, that on mediation in our culture and traditions. In that symposium, there was Shadia. Shadia Maraban works in areas where there is conflict, where there's violence. And she's speaking about how when she connects, actually connecting from the heart, these people, look at them carrying guns and everything, they've broken down, cried in front of her and cried with her. So you have to go to that level of connection. Are these people talking about that in conflicts? Of course, you are the ones who are going to look at conflicts. For me, the dispute, I'm a small little dispute person, but I'm saying in all these areas, are we even talking about that? Are we even connecting at that level? So you'll watch that. Then in heart, soul, spirituality, there was Hans Sebert. He also works in high conflict areas. Listen to him. He also talks about this. So you have 2 sessions already available to you. Start with
thank
those. Yeah, start with
thank you
those.
for the recommendation. So Hans and
Hans in Heart Soul Spirituality Symposium. The symposium number, I think it was symposium number 2, I think. And then Shadia Maraban, symposium number 1. And of course, I will boast at the same time, it was called the Woodstock of Mediation, because there were 97 speakers from 45 countries in that symposium. And you got a wide range of thoughts and perspectives. So that's going to be your homework, Rosanna. And then you'll give me your feedback. And if we
thank
need,
you.
look, based on this, if we would need to, we can have a special whole series. We can have a symposium on this aspect, ethno-religious disputes and mediation. It's a very important topic. So we can do that. So have a look at all this and tell me when, and let's put it out. Let's put it out. Because I'm telling you, these are certain aspects of these conflicts. You'll talk about conflicts, look, I'll talk about disputes, all these disputes. This aspect of these disputes, it's important to put out with people who've been working on the ground, what their concept is. Because Hans talks about people having this, they can bring this toolkit of theirs. So this toolkit has been picked up in some other country, developed there, and then they bring it to another place. It doesn't work, and then they just go away from it. They're not looking at, because they have this box that they want to bring in and use that box. We have to go out of that box. Look at lots of other factors. There could be local factors, regional factors, and lot of aspects which you need a little more digging a little deeper into a lot of aspects, and digging into the heart, soul, those parts of it.
So interesting, so interesting. Thank you for giving me homework.
You like it, don't you? Your only problem with you is you want to read. You want some written material. I am giving you material that you'll have to listen to. That's the only
No,
difference.
this is much more easier. I can wear my just earphones and listen to it. To read, it's always you need time to read something. But I need this material for my dissertation or in written form, and just for my experience, I need to listen to it. It also works.
But
Thank you very much.
when do you have to submit it? When is the submission of that dissertation?
Uh, in year and a half,
Oh,
I think.
long time. Then we can do a proper symposium before that. We'll get
But
people
time,
from all over
goes
the.
so
I was thinking,
fast.
look, with me, the thing is, I normally announce things. I mean, at a short notice, but we have time. Let's give some time to it. We can give it, maybe do it in October or something. Maybe we can do it then. So let's put it out and let's get it from all parts of the world. Let's get that experience. So then you can use that material. What you will do then is you will take that material, put it into written form, and then you will give it to me, and then I'll put that as a book or whatever. We can do that together. That's not, I mean, we can do it together. We'll make a book out of it and let's put it out, and that can be a dissertation also. It can be available on a more expanded basis out there. So what do you think, Ruzanna? Sounds good?
Oh my God. It's once again homework for me. Yes.
It's not,
So
look,
many things to do.
look, this is for, look, for your education. You decided to do the the whatever the degree that you want to do. You decided it, so I'm just helping you.
I hope that you will be able to use my dissertation also, and
Yeah,
you will put it on
exactly.
your side.
No, we'll
If
circulate. We'll actually put it out for people to maybe buy. Maybe they can buy it, and why not? It can fund my work, and it can fund your work. If I can, we can put it out for people to purchase. It'll be useful material. Of course, the videos are always free resource that anyone can watch it. But some people want it in written form, because written form you'll be able to condense it in a manner where, of course, in our conversation, things go into various directions and everything. So editing will be required for that part, but it'll be a very useful tool, because people sometimes lose out on a lot of inputs because people are doing work in every corner of the world, and those people never come out. We don't see them, we don't talk to them, nothing. They're there doing their work on the ground. But what if we can bring their thoughts, their practical experience, and from various parts? So I think it'll be very useful. So October. october October.
interesting. And do you know if Jay has books on ethnic mediation, or Lisa? Do
So
they
what
have books?
what you do is you have to go on on the sheet, that sheet of mine. We can, of course, we can ask him. That's one part. But what you should do is you should actually go to this sheet, that schedule. You have the link to the schedule. Yes. The
This that you sent me
This is the
before?
schedule. This is the schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in this,
Yes.
there are various sheets. You can see the bottom. So just click to the
Uh-huh.
panelist sheet. Now this is the LinkedIn, the profile link to all these people. The only problem is you are not connected on LinkedIn. You have a profile, but you're not active on it. That's the only problem. So you'll find Jay here. So you can actually click here and you can go to his profile. So that's about it. So
Interesting.
connect, and we'll have a conversation with him. So you can go to straight to his profile. So I'm to say that you'll have the option here, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. One thing I would like to recommend you to see, or maybe you have already seen this movie called The Best of Enemies. Have you seen it?
I started watching it. I will watch it. I have to watch it. It's just that I have to, at the same time, when I, because look, you can understand how little time I get to do other things. So now I have to get my wife to also say that she also wants to watch it. So I did tell her that one of these days, let's watch it together, but it was a little late, and this was a little serious kind of movie also. So I said we'll watch it some other time, but that other time is going to happen after the conference maybe. So it sounds, looks interesting. Looks interesting. Yeah.
It's
And
very
where
so.
did I pick it up from, Rosanna? I picked it up from your post. that post that you put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great, great. Then it works. My post works.
Exactly.
That's good. So this is a home task for you
Yeah,
to watch
exactly.
this work.
No, definitely after the conference, because after Thursday, definitely I'm going to watch it. It's on the watch
So
list.
exchange of home tasks for each other. So this movie is very interesting, and it was recommended by Frank Laney that I told you before. And Frank Laney, he lives not far from the place where it happens, the story happens. And it's very interesting also from this ethnic side and between black and white people, and it's especially about mediation, and it's very interesting because the mediation happens in the movie. I know other movies, there are some, but they show just small part of mediation in the movies, and this one is based on mediation. They doesn't call mediation, they call it planning instead of mediation, but I think it's because it happens a long time ago in 1971. So they just didn't, they just started using uh, uh, this technique of solving problems, and they started to call it planning. But after that, it became mediation, and it shows very interesting approach how to solve ethnic conflicts. And they also that would be also interesting for you because it also connected hard soul and
Yeah,
spirituality.
not bad at all. So they're talking about it.
Yes.
Look, two things have come out very interesting out of this. One is the fact that the word doesn't matter. It's the process that matters. And connect people to the process, not the word. That's what the important thing is, because suddenly mediation becomes some technical. And you don't know. The thing is that because mediation is spoken about in different places, in different ways, so people themselves have maybe a limited understanding of mediation. So let's connect them to a process which they understand. And that is again, like I'll go back to that last year's symposium. That was the theme of that symposium. That's the aspect that people might not be familiar with the word, but they're familiar with the process. So let's connect them to a process that they're familiar with. So I think that's an important thing what you brought out here. So I think we need to also put that. But please tell us a little bit about the movie. You can give us the essence, the gist. You can give us something which is connected to the topic. So please, I think that's a good thing.
uh, some advertising, yes, one more time. Those people gonna pay me for advertising different things, like and your channel, the different movies. It
Good.
happens.
Look,
Actually, it happens very
first
seldom.
of all,
Huh?
Ruzanna, there was a special session in the conference on mediation and the movies. You should have been part of that. You should have been part
Really,
of that. Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm very bad at movies. I watch movies very, very seldom. I have no time for movies. This one, I watched just because it was recommended by friend, and he said you should watch it. That's why it was my home task from friend from friend. So I'm a good pupil. I just watched it. So the story is about conflict between and I'm saying conflict and thinking. Was it conflict or dispute?
Exactly. Now you have to make the differentiation. It's very important. I'm saying it's very important to make that differentiation.
At the very beginning, it was dispute in the court, and black people and white people, they were arguing because of the different things, and black activists, woman black activists, he was like defending the rights of black people in different aspects. And from the other side, activist leader of Ku Klux Klan, who is against black people. And they were arguing all the time. And at this time, in black school, the fire, help me, how do they how they call the fire in the school, school was on fire.
Okay, perfect. School on fire. That's okay.
School fire. So sometimes I invent my own English words when
Perfect.
I don't know the meaning in English.
It's okay. Sounds nice. So perfect. Or anything that sounds nice is perfect, and it's understood. It's understood.
I hope people understand it. So, and because of this school fire, the Black people doesn't have an opportunity to, but children, they didn't have opportunity to study, and Black parents, they wanted their children to study with white people in white school. So, and on this aspect, there was a trial, and the judge couldn't resolve this problem because of some political issues. It's understandable. It was difficult to just to make a decision whether to give rights Black people to study with white people or not. So, and one man, he suggested to use this mediation called planning, and they tried. And from this very part, very interesting things happen. And this is very interesting for us mediators to watch how this mediator makes Black and white people to gather together, to be in one room, to just to start this process, to sit near each other, to start thinking about the problem, to make decisions, small, or they start from small questions, like we need to resolve this, this, and this, and this. They go by small parts, and this is very good, I think, just to divide the problem. And he asks this activist, Black activist, and Ku Klux Klan leader to be like the head of Black people, to be the head of the white people. And at the first time, at the very beginning, they doesn't work. They doesn't want to work with each other. They don't want to speak with each other. So,
But you have to also tell us the reasons for that. Why were they not wanting to work together? What was, because that'll be important. That'll be an important part.
You will see the reasons in the movies.
You know me, you look at, you can understand my situation. I started the movie. I really liked that woman's attitude, the way she was sitting in that school, that person's, I don't know whether she was, whose office she was sitting in, that office, and she said, I'm not going to move from here. And that part, well, I liked her attitude on the whole thing. So whether I can watch it or not, I don't know. Look, it's not a problem. I'll watch it, but I think even if I don't, at least that message will come through. So, and you would pick up something maybe different from what I would, because you're an academic, so you look at it very different. You'll analyze it. So let's hear them.
Academic, I like it. So they just don't. They can't speak to each other because they hate each other. And the interesting thing that when I was, like you say, that I have academic approach, I'm kind of analyzing this movie and then trying to understand why they hate each other. At the very beginning, I think they even just don't understand why they hate each other. They just hate each other because he's white and she's Black. That's why. And as they go deeper and deeper, they start to understand that they're just people with the same needs. They what all the people doesn't matter, Black, white, or yellow, or whatever. They always think about how to be safe, how to get money, how to care their children, and we have the same problems. Doesn't matter what color we are. And during the movie, this mediator helps them to understand it, and they start to understand each other's needs. And the white man, he sees that she's Black and has the same problem that he has, and vice versa, because the white man, he had so many problems with children and housing and so on, and even with earning money, and this black lady, she helped them. She helped him during the movie, and that's why he changed. She helped him with his son who was ill and he was in the hospital, and that's why he changed his mind. He understood that doesn't matter if she's black or white, she has the same feelings. She's self-conscious and she has heart, soul, and spirituality, and she helped him. But so, and he changed his mind at the end, and he left. He left Ku Klux Klan. So I'm just telling you the whole movie. It won't be interesting
No, I mean,
to.
look, the important things that you've picked up. You've picked up the most important thing: heart, soul, spirituality. And my job is done. Ruzanna has picked up. Look, hate is what you picked up initially. Hate. What was it? Was just however it came in. It's a secondary thing which can be sorted out. The primary thing is whether you can connect at that level with people. And they're people, like you just said, they're people. Colors, of course, is something that you can. I mean, anything that different colors do. It's just the fact of the person. Can you connect to the person inside? And that's once you've done that, everything else can be sorted out. There is no concept of hate or anything like that, because hate comes from what? Some stereotyping. That's what you do. Or you will only have limited information because obviously someone is feeding that information to you. And you have to realize they are liars in this world. They're liars. They will lie about something. They can go and talk about someone and again talk about a nationality, like you were earlier in our session, we had spoken about in conversation that it's a fight happening with two people. It's just a fight like any like people have, and then it comes down to this nationality and that nationality, which had nothing to do with that fight. Then the media picks it up and says there was a clash between two nationalities, and then it gets all blown up because of course media has to sensationalize it, so it goes out as a different message to the community, and then they all get activated. So it started off with two people having a fight on in relation to a car parking. That was all there was to it, and you created it into a conflict between ethnic, whatever, it could be minority something on ethnicities, and you just created a whole different color to it. So someone who was reading that aspect of it, or again not just reading it, listening to it from someone else who had read it, the whole message, can you imagine what's going out there? So I'm just saying that we have to be able to bring all that into the perspective and being able to take it down to the most simplistic aspect of it, the most simplistic, and that gets left out. Look, again, you're an academic. I would, but you have to listen to my comment. Actually, what happens is there's so much theory out there, and you want to apply all that theory to everything that you come across because you have so much theory. But actually, sometimes things are so simple that you can find out a child in school will understand it very well, and maybe they can tell you what it's all about and how to solve it. And sometimes that's simple.
I agree. I agree totally. And you have touched one very important aspect about media. That media sometimes make I call it it's ethnicized the conflict.
Yep.
It's just normal, usual conflict. Because of media, it could be ethnicized, and all the people start thinking about like it was. Ethnic conflict, not usual one. And we should be very careful. And here in Kazakhstan, we also pay much attention to our media, and we were talking about it in different meetings, that media plays a great role in making these conflicts. Actually, here in governmental level, we doesn't use ethnic conflicts. We doesn't say that here in Kazakhstan there are some ethnic conflicts. We doesn't say it, but our media says it. So it's very important for media also not to use this loud, I should say, words like this, and be careful and care too much about it, to pay much attention to it.
No, other thing, Rosanna, because look, two things people get connected to. One is the media and the other is the police, because you spoke about the police also. So there also that becomes an important role for them also. And I do feel that at least in countries like ours, because there are, I mean, there's so many people and so many things happening, the police also lands up and comes in as mediators. They come in as mediators. They don't want this to escalate. I mean, largely you will see. I mean, I'm talking about the smaller ones, the smaller things. Well, let's talk about just a car crash somewhere. If you can finish it off at that level itself, then the whole thing of it escalating into other areas, of course, in this case, the nationality is coming in and all that goes away, because that little, whatever that dispute was, got resolved right there. So that way, police also plays an important role on what their approach is. Because if they are going to be, I'm okay, say you had that George Floyd example in the US, was it because he was black? That's why the police treated him that way. So if the police has that attitude, and if they are going to create that kind of an environment, definitely it'll go down to people. If people know that this is someone, the police is someone who's actually guarding the interest of a certain kind of people or certain people, the whole message goes around that these are our people. So it becomes ours versus theirs. So a black person, how does he feel safe in an environment like that? So the whole environment they can shake up. So they can they can do it in a way that it can always be them coming in as, of course, totally impartial, or they can come in as with their approach of immediately targeting someone. So they play a very important role. To sensitize them is also very important, to be able to manage it at the earliest level.
Right, right, agree. We should create different approach in the society to these ethnic issues.
Yep.
Yes. Oh,
Yep.
somebody is connecting us.
Yep. So this is the next session,
Oh, really?
So we can go on,
In
because look, we are waiting for Mr. Panchu. When Mr. Panchu comes in, we start the next session. So Payal is here. Payal, you can say hi to us.
Hi, hi,
Okay, Payal is there. Is there a bot, or is that Payal? Yes, Payal is there. Oh, look at the thing behind her. Buddha is sitting there, but Buddha's got missed out. It's Payal there. You can see that behind her, Ruzanna.
Buddha.
Buddha is there,
That's
but
a good.
he's getting lost out in the picture, Payal.
I know, babe. Right now, can you see it?
Yeah, it looks,
Here
otherwise it looks like Payal has taken over. It's like
is a painting done, a Bali painting done by a friend.
okay.
I've just taken it as my display pic on
Okay.
for some time.
Perfect. So Payal is in India. Ruzanna is in Kazakhstan. We're talking about ethnic disputes and mediation. So that was what that topic is about. So
what are
important
you
things
going
that
to
came.
talk?
Yeah. So
What are you going
important.
to talk about with Pyle? What topic will you?
Actually, we're talking about judges and mediation. It
Ah,
Because Mr. Panchu, he's coming in. I mean, he's like the pioneer of the court-related mediation in India. He started the first center in India. So he has written an article where he's criticized some judges on creating a private institution and taking public land at a very small amount. So he's just trying to say that judges, first of all, is it a practice, is a good practice in general, that where you take benefits from the government? That's one part of it. The other is setting up a mediation center and getting work going to the mediation center, because you have the influence to send work. Because he says that they've told one tribunal here to send work to the mediation center, while on the other end those tribunals have a panel of mediators. So there is a roster there, but you break the roster, you send it to a mediation center. So those kind of situations is one thing, and let's see where that discussion goes. I mean, there are a lot of factors in relation to, I don't know whether, look, I don't know whether the topic should have been the judiciary and mediation or judges and mediation. I could not decide, because here there was judges involved. So I said, what is the role of judges as individuals? Because unlike, sometimes you make it the judiciary, you kind of create a more larger group, and that way. So what do you think? Should have been judges and mediation, or the judiciary and mediation? What should have been the topic?
are you asking
Yes,
me or Pyle?
yes, I'm asking you.
Ah,
It's your
ah,
session going on. Payal comes in the next session.
So I have it's have already stopped, yes, but
No, it's not stopped. It's not stopped. It's still going on. It's all
so,
live. Yeah.
so as for your question, I definitely would call it judges in mediation, because you know that this is our favorite topic because we have here the same problems, and judges, we think the judges, just they stopped our mediation.
Yes.
They started being mediators, they even start being judges, and here we mediators, we have not so many cases to work with, because the judges work with all the cases in the court, and people still go to the court. We want people not to go to the court. We
Exactly.
want to go to mediator before the court, but they made all conditions for people to go to the court. They even get back the fee that people pay.
Yeah.
Uh, is it the same in India? When you
Yeah.
go to the
Yeah.
court, you pay the fee,
Yeah.
and if you had mediation, they give
Yes,
this fee
yes,
back,
yes,
right?
exactly. These are issues. These are problems. Look, the problems are the same. So you can be part of that discussion, because definitely the viewpoint should come out that this is something which is happening in other places, and it has to be a global perspective. The topic came up because he had written that article, and I said, let's talk about it, because these are things which I've been ranting about in various of my discussions and symposium and everywhere. I've gone out and hitting this whole concept of the judiciary and the way they've gone about it and the court system and the issues there. So definitely that discussion has been happening with me. So I mean, I don't know how much. Look, what happened with Mr. Panchu is because he's such a senior mediator, and I've actually done a co-mediation with him also, and I've enjoyed it. I'll call it the dream team kind of thing. So I never, on a public thing, I never talk to him about it or get in. Don't do my ranting in front of him, because okay, I just tell him on a private basis these are issues that I feel, and I think he has understood a lot of them, because I hear him saying the things that I've been talking about for so long. So he's changed his concept there, because he started that mediation center in the court, and obviously the mediators getting almost nothing, just a little honorarium kind of thing. So at least today he's saying that the mediators should be given what is the market thing. That is something which the parties and the mediator should decide. And it is the difference that I've been talking about is the free and the pro bono. If the parties can afford it, why should you give it free? Yes, if someone can't afford it, then that pro bono aspect comes in, and people can practice on a pro bono basis, which they do in legal aid also, which is happening there also. But to give it for free, that is where the issue came in. So he's, at least that aspect he's looked at. The other aspect of judges actually sending out work to judges, which of course started off with arbitration. They send it out to their fellow judges, retired judges. So that is one part. What I really want to talk to in that session, is the aspect of the judiciary is the most inefficient institution in our country. I can't say Kazakhstan what the pending things are. Here you have 50 million matters pending in courts. So you have created an environment of this whole inefficiency. And then after that, if you are the one who says that now we have to send things out to mediation, and that too to people that we want to send it out to, I think you've created the atmosphere. You get your house in order. Get that in order. Don't use it to your own benefit. So that's where it comes at. And Jawad is here. Jawad is, of course, let's see how vocal he can be. Jawad, we haven't started that session. The earlier session is going on in which you can contribute. Yes, Jawad? But Jawad has put it logged in, but he's going to come in. He had some matter in court which he was handling. So there here's some mediation he was doing. So these are the things that lot of these factors, Ruzanna, which is, I think, creating an issue in development of mediation in every country. Which is what that I'm telling you, that last symposium of mine, in every session I spoke about this, because everyone was talking about how it's practiced in their country, and these same issues came up. The mediator has got lost out in the picture. That's what it's coming out. The judiciary wants to promote it because they are inefficient. They want to show that yes, we are sending it out for mediation. What favor are you doing? You get your house in order. And that example I keep giving is from the Chuck, who's based in Germany now, but he's from Israel. And he gave that example in the last symposium that Israel mediation is quite popular because the court system is really inefficient. Germany is not very popular because the courts are very efficient. So I don't want to promote mediation on the basis of telling parties settle because this matter will take 15 years. That's no way of settling it. That's actually in no way justice, because Jawad had spoken about it. We didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier. But that's not access to justice. Sometimes people say mediation is access to justice. No, you've told the person that the courts are inefficient in a way and they will take so long. So it's better for you to settle. So you're actually telling him to take something which they didn't want. They wanted something more. And that is no reason. So I'm saying that let's, on the other side, promote value-based negotiations, bring in the heart, soul, spirituality part. Those are important parts. And when we put that out, then mediation for me takes off in the direction that I wanted. That becomes something that you go for because you want to go for it. You understand the other person. You're seeing where your needs meet. Those are important areas, not because what the judiciary has created. That's not mediation for me. And when I hear stories from the court thing, of course, I'm not saying Jawad practices like that. He's a good person. But when you hear that the people, these lawyer mediators, they walk in and they say, we will decide. And I actually have an interview which I keep showing people, not on live thing, otherwise, of a mediator in the Supreme Court in India. In that interview, 4 times he says the mediator will decide. So can you imagine that is the approach that is happening in the court system? And then you, of course, hear a lot of other stories. So the judiciary has created an environment which is not something for what I would say is in relation to development of mediation. Yes. No.
We have just similar problems around the world, I should say. Here, like you're speaking about India, and we can say the same about Kazakhstan. And you mentioned German system and our courts several years ago. I think something about 8 years ago, they went to Germany and they just took German experience and brought here. And every time they say, in Germany, it works like this. And we say, come on, stop speaking about Germany. Of course, it was a good experience. You tried it and it worked somehow and it helped us. At least people started to get to know about mediation. So, but now the time to go further. Let's do other steps. Let's take other steps. And from this point of view, I see American experience with the mediation in courts is interesting. And Frank Laney, that I acquainted to you. So he's a mediator who worked in court system, and he created dispute resolution center for Supreme Court. And this practice is very interesting. This is what I suggest now to our courts. I hope yesterday I will have a meeting with a judge from Supreme Court, and I want to suggest them to use this model, American model, with a dispute resolution center where mediators, not judges, just normal mediators, they certified with court and they have rights to work with court cases. So to give first, to give mediators opportunity to work, to do mediation, and second, to divide out of court mediation and court mediation, but not made with judges. Like in United States, not in United States, let's say in North Carolina, because you know that they have different laws. So in North Carolina, they have this dispute resolution center, and judges doesn't do mediations. They just, when they see mediation opportunity, they just say, parties, go to resolution center, which is part of our court, and work with mediator. So, and they pay mediators, parties pay mediators.
How much
And no one,
do they pay proper? They don't pay. I mean, how much do the mediators get in that?
they have fees. Like I remember that friend said that he has $400 per hour.
No chance. No chance. No chance. No chance. If they give $40, it's a major thing. That's where the
No, of course.
problem is.
We don't speak about $400 per hour here in Kazakhstan. Of course
No,
not.
there also, there's no chance. I'm telling you, even if they give $40, it's a lot. I mean, they won't even give that much. So be careful when you start it off. Let it be the decision that it's understanding between the mediator and the parties. Let them decide their fees. Don't get the court should not get into that, because that way mediation doesn't develop. If the mediators don't develop mediators, mediation doesn't develop. So this is the
It's
biggest.
true.
Now Jawad is here, and Jawad, in one matter, he was saying that he had, I mean, it was complex matter, lots of sessions. He got $100 for the entire mediation. So, and I don't know how much time. He's a senior lawyer and mediator. So $100 for the entire mediation. So can you imagine what the situation in the court system, and that ended. So if it starts off, look, the point first of all is you have to be able to talk to the judiciary. Should understand, the people should understand that judiciary has to get its house in order. Just because this entire concept that the judges can get away with what they want should not, that should stop. They should be accountable. To put one person behind bars for even one day is too much. If you have to be efficient, and you have to create procedures in a manner where things happen fast. You have no right to take away someone's freedom. First of all, let's look at criminal matters. You have a job. Well, finally, judges have limited time, and you have limited judges. Either you keep expanding the number of judges. You should be able to have a situation where no one goes to, finally it's an innocent person up till the person not convicted. The theory goes around that our criminal justice system has to be such that no innocent person is convicted, even if 100 guilty people go free. That's where very nicely they put it. The point is putting person in the prison for even a day. The person is innocent, not convicted yet. That is allowed. That they can put the person for years inside prison, but they haven't convicted him. So you've actually given him a sentence, or her, not just, it can be any gender. You've given them a sentence, and saying that we are not going to, have a nice procedure, innocent person will not be convicted. What use is it to the person whose freedom has been taken away? I was giving an example to someone. There was a trial court had given someone a death penalty. Can you imagine? Death penalty. Every day of that life in that jail, the person thinks the person is going to be hanged. The Supreme Court acquitted the person. Can you imagine how bad this will be? Can you imagine the situation? So
Yeah.
that is where you have to understand that you've finished someone's life. The person has stayed in jail, and because, look, you are not for yourself. I mean, you're not God, that you've got things right going, everything. These are people. So in that whole process, you should be able to give it to them immediately. And don't, these jails that you have created, you have to be able to, up till the person doesn't go through all their appeals and everything, how can you put them in that condition? You can go wrong. The trial court went wrong in that case. But you put that person in facilities without their families and everything, although the person was innocent. Your judge was not able to do a good job. Was the person accountable? Took someone's life away. It's a life gone. The prime years of someone's life that they could spend with their family, you took away. How are you allowed to do all this? Under what system? You're not accountable. So we have to get into, they have to be answerable to those things. On the other end, a totally diametrically opposite process, which is mediation, which is non-adversarial. What do you have to do with it? All dispute resolution doesn't happen in courts and should not happen in courts. This is the kind of environment that is being created. Dispute resolution is the court's domain. No, it's not. It is only that litigation is your domain. That's all. And in litigation also, whether, of course, the courts, how much should they be looking at? What kind of dispute should be looking at? Why should the state be funding people's disputes? So is it something which have to be created as, why was arbitration? Why did it come up? Only because, of course, inefficiencies of the court, another aspect. So that people can create their own private courts. What is arbitration? It's just a private court. The people try to sometimes say, oh, arbitration, something different from litigation. Nothing. It's just a private court. You appointed your judge. You created your courthouse. That is what you did. That's all. The concept is exactly the same. There's no difference there. So why did all that happen? Let people create their private courts. Let them. Arbitration is available. Why should all the disputes be going into courts? What does the state have to do with all those things? So all those aspects which have to be discussed. A lot of reforms that have to happen in the judicial system. And then you pick up mediation, and then you start coming out that whole foundation behind mediation, that will make it mandatory. We'll put costs. Some countries are putting costs if you don't go, and the judges will decide whether you approached the mediation properly or not. Singapore has that kind of an approach. If you did not approach the mediation properly, we'll put costs on you. I mean, come off it. What are you? Why are you getting into all this? This is a people's process. What you're telling them, first of all, it's connected to courts. At any point of time, Ruzanna, am I ranting? If you wanted to stop, you can say, I've had enough. Just shut up now. You've said enough. Any point of time you can do that. I can go on. Because for me, I know that you have to keep listening because I don't take a break in between. So any point of time you can tell me, because for me, look, this is something it's so important. The whole concept of no one being able to even question the judiciary. They just don't do it. No one, everyone thinks, oh, let them be, and they know, and they will do things. They will do nothing. There are inefficient people sitting there, created a world of their own, and no one says anything to them. You have given them power of all kinds. They can put someone behind. The day, I'm telling you, the day we can reach a stage when taking you to court or I'll send you to jail, these are not words that people fear. That's the day reforms have happened. Because today that threat is, I will take you to court. What take me to court if I'm all right? Why should I have any fear of that? And I'll put you to jail. If jail is not such an issue, what is it? Up till you're innocent, you should be able to live with your family. If so, you think you are a threat to society, give them a resort to stay in. They're innocent up till they're not proven guilty. Why should they be taken away from families? So all those things have to be discussed. It's just I keep saying this is a colonial mindset that you can get away with whatever you want to do. So all that has to happen.
We have touched the source point. Yes, we can speak hours and hours about.
And with me, never. I'm telling you, never do that. You might be talking about some other topic altogether, and I'll get into this ranting of mine. So definitely not a direction you should send me in ever. So, but the thing is, look, Mr. Panchu has just sent a message. He's actually in Dubai in something, so he'll take a few minutes. So I have a few minutes to talk about. Any point of time we can go back to our topic, that because you picked up a lot of things when you were talking about it. So the whole value-based aspect of it, I think, because you picked that up. So certain disputes are value-based. So if you're dealing with value-based disputes, then definitely you have to have a value-based mediation or negotiation. So that aspect, I think, has got left out. That aspect of the entire process, I think, has not been discussed enough. I don't know what you think.
And I think when we speak about value-based conflicts, we definitely, as mediators, we definitely should know also. Sorry, just one second.
Yeah.
We definitely should know the traditions and whatever connected to traditions of this very nationality, yes, of this ethnicity. We should know what is important, what kind of values does this ethnicity has to be a good mediator, to know what to speak about, what sports to touch. This is why I believe that not every mediator can work with value-based conflicts, because normal, usual rules of mediation, like which based in law, they doesn't work with values. Of course, mediator should know what kind of questions to ask parties. But if you doesn't know the nature of this nationality and you doesn't know traditions and so on. So how can you work with these conflicts? Like, for instance, here, sometimes here we have conflicts between Kazakh and Chechen people, and Kazakh and Uyghur people. And when I had this conversation with the director of the institute that I told you before, Institute of Applied Ethnopolitical Researchers, he was telling about some conflicts that he was he was invited to help to resolve. And I asked him how do these people react on woman mediator, for instance. And I always think about it because I can imagine situation, a bunch of Kazakh men and bunch of Chechen men who doesn't they all of them are their religion is Islam, yes, and in Islam they doesn't pay too much attention to women. how to say so. And I even can't imagine me, like mediator, coming to this crazy man arguing with each other, and me, woman, trying to resolve this issue. They even won't hear me. And he said that, for instance, Uyghur people, they listen to women, and men listen to women. That's why in Uyghur conflict, it's okay to use woman mediator. So even these aspects are very important in that kind of conflicts.
But
What do you
here,
think about it?
yeah, absolutely. Because this is something that sensitization has to happen. That you can actually get women into. In some places, women are not cannot be parties also. They're not brought in. Their voice is not heard. So that's a discussion definitely we've had to a part of it in that earlier symposium. So Mr. Panchu is here. If Mr. Panchu is there, every other conversation has to stop. So Mr. Panchu, I'll end this session. We were having a discussion with Ruzanna. She's from Kazakhstan on ethnic disputes and mediation. So
how interesting. How interesting. Hello, Ruzanna.
Hello, Mr. Panchu.
Hello.
How are you?
So what I'll do is we'll end this session, Ruzanna. If there is quick one, because with Mr. Panchu, I don't waste his time at all. So you want to just close it, just a last comment if you want to make, and then we'll close it. Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. Because I also have to go and I don't want to take Mr. Panchu's time. So I wish you good luck and thank you one more time, Vikram, for inviting me, for having such wonderful, interesting conversation. I think that there are so many things to say, and your conversation that you're gonna have even has much more issues to speak about, to think about. It's a very interesting one, and I wish you good luck.
And
So
yeah, and let me tell Mr. Panchu. Okay, let me tell Mr. Panchu that Ruzanna, I was talking to her about this session, and she says that Kazakhstan faces the same issues. So these are things which are common around, but I would have wanted her to stay. If you have time, Ruzanna, please listen to Mr. Panchu. His words of wisdom, in any case, you should listen to. So I think you can. So let me shut this one and start that one. So thank you, Ruzanna. Always a